Thank you for attending. It's nice to be here. My name is Gary Speier. I'm a U.S. pharmaceutical patent attorney. My work focuses on international patent drafting, prosecution, opinion work, due diligence, and freedom to operate. Joining me is my colleague, Jim Hallenbeck, and today we're going to be talking about patent analytics.
My name is Jim Hallenbeck, as Gary mentioned, and my background is in preparation and prosecution of software and computer-related patent applications, counseling clients, both in the U.S. and in many countries around the world. And we're talking today about patent analytics, as Gary mentioned, and there's a lot of talk about a few different things in patent law these days. One of them, you hear about patent analytics sometimes, not too much, but you hear about valuation and monetization of patents. These are challenging things for many patent attorneys because we're not accountants, we're not MBAs, we're not finance people, but yet companies are beginning to rely on us to identify the value in their patent portfolios, whether that be for determining values of assets or just justifying the amount of money that's spent on different patent portfolios. So as these questions become more common in our business, we need to be ready to answer those questions. But one scenario where where patent analytics becomes very important is where your company, say for example, Acme Limited, India, for example, say it's an IT company, maybe they're making a wireless device, some sort of mobile computing device, and they want to branch into a new market, or they want to acquire another company. Say they want to acquire a company or a division of, say, General Electric or some other U.S. or Western company that has a large patent portfolio. The patent holdings in that company are likely to be immense, many thousands of patents. And when you're dealing with transactions, oftentimes these decisions need to be made quite quickly, and your diligence needs to be performed quickly. But you're looking at perhaps thousands of patents in at least one jurisdiction, and maybe many hundreds or many thousands in many jurisdictions. And yet, the patent group is required to provide an answer within just a couple weeks because the CEO or the company management wants to decide whether or not they're going to do these transactions, of which the IP portfolio may be quite central. So that's a daunting task because our IT departments or in various companies, you already have everything that you need to do that keeps you busy during the day, but yet you need to find time to evaluate all these different patents. And budgets may prevent you from allocating enough resources from outside the company, even if those resources are available. So we need to find a way to answer difficult questions when we're looking at these large portfolios, especially as Indian companies are filing more and more patents these days in all areas of technology. Indian companies have become quite sophisticated over the years, and the number of patents they hold is becoming quite large. So we need to be able to identify value, and we need to be able to identify it quickly. What's the most important patents in your portfolio? What patents do you have that are underutilized that you may decide to sell? What patents are you holding that sit on top of what the competitors might be doing? How do you identify these when you have hundreds, maybe even a few thousand patents? So we need to rely on different analytic tools, and we need to develop these tools and implement them and adjust our processes so that we're identifying value incrementally at different steps in the process of building a portfolio, and utilizing that not only to identify value inside our own companies, but also to make decisions such as what's the importance of this disclosure inside our portfolio? What will it provide us? Do we decide to pay this maintenance fee or not, or do we offer this patent application or this patent for sale? Do we monetize it ourselves? Do we hold on to it as a shield against our competitors? What do these patents do for us, and what are the value they provide to our company? Now my colleague Gary Speier is going to provide some answers to these questions, but think about those questions as Gary is going through some of the answers that we have and some of the things that we're working on to help you identify the importance and the value in your portfolio.
So I start by reiterating what Jim said. In contrast to a company that has a single patent, any worthwhile patent attorney can review that patent document and analyze what the patent covers. Is it a strong patent? Is it a weak patent? The claim scope. The problem becomes when your company, for example, is looking to acquire another company that may have 10,000 patents or 20,000 patents. This problem becomes insurmountable just from a human labor perspective only. So a lot of what I'll discuss today employs the implementation of software tools. So if we imagine, for example, there's a patent portfolio of 50,000 patent documents. They could be located or granted in several jurisdictions. We'll just take the easy case of US only. With the use of software tools, you can come in and look at biographical information and numerical data. Even within those two classes, you can continue to drill down. Once this information is identified, it could be categorized in that database and linked to other types of information. So that we can answer questions of, across the entire portfolio, who are the players, what is the subject matter, where are they filing, what is the claim coverage. You can also look at trends. So again, this would be over several tens of thousand patent documents. You can look at the filing trends, the issuance trends. You can look at the types of subject matter based on, for example, international or US classifications. You can drill down on either the entire portfolio or any subset. The number of office actions on average. You can compare this to the mean within the industry. For example, a given art unit or a certain class or subclass within the United States, within the international classification. So you can now compare that company's patent performance versus a mean. Perhaps this company has taken 4, 5, maybe on average 6 office action responses to get cases allowed. Perhaps they filed on average 3 to 4 RCEs per application, whereas the industry standard, for example, the mean may have been half of that. If we just took social networking as a specific area of technology, you could now map across a timeline of when applications were filed, when patents issued, and you can drill down based on the country. So again, our thought is our clients, many of them managers and executives, they don't want the typical patent verbiage. Instead, we have found that they prefer information like this. When we show up to their office and start talking about claim scopes and other lexicons within patent law, they're less interested. In contrast, when we show up and actually show them some analytics, the value of the portfolio, they tend to prefer that. You could look at, for example, examiners across a given area of technology. Perhaps the examiner that you have, based on the statistics, is a little bit more slow. Perhaps they give a little more office action. They give more 102 rejections, more 103 rejections, more 112 rejections. Once this information is scraped from the relevant databases, now you can start going in to see is your information within your portfolio an anomaly, or does it fit statistically within the data that's presented to you? You can look at the information per art unit. You can look at per international classification or US classification. Now you can start layering on top of that perhaps revenues generated by the company. their stock price. This is all publicly available information. It doesn't all have to be IP analytics. You can start layering on top of the IP analytics with financial data. So the last example I'll give is there are also software tools out there that provide an output of what the claims cover within various patent documents. It's a visual output that allows the reader, irrespective of whether or not they're a technical person or a legal person, especially patent law, allows them to better understand what the patents cover without having to pick up a patent, without reviewing the patent. And much like the other data that I discussed, that also could be layered on top of other type of data that is in the database, and now you can start identifying patents that do cover a commercial embodiment, patent documents that don't cover a commercial embodiment, patents that may cover a competitor's technology but not your technology. So the theme is, once you're able to obtain and store a lot of the IP or patent data, you can then start to manipulate it and put on top of that other information that is not considered to be patent data, and to provide a little bit more useful information for the executives and managers. So I'm going to stop 5 minutes early, but thank you for your attention.